There was a time in the history of the man cave when having the biggest toys means you win. And that applied even to consumer electronics. Right around 1991, the guy on the block who had the biggest VCR was definitely the winner. And that's why I'm about to show you a comparison in size between two component electronic pieces. And that is a Pioneer Laserdisc player, seen on the top of the stack, and the Toshiba Diomage SVHS VCR. Yes, having a big VCR is the coolest thing to have on your block. So why not stack your CLD 980 Pioneer Laserdisc player atop your Diomage Toshiba SV-771 Super VHS Hi-Fi Stereo VCR. The Toshiba had an original price tag of $800 retail in 1991. And you're about to see some of the most amazing features that you'll ever find on a VCR. The top feature, or the most striking feature, is the fact that this VCR is a drawer loading VCR. Now, I've shown you another drawer loading VCR on my channel, a VCR made by JVC, but that one just doesn't come close to this one. The display, the hi-fi stereo, the Super VHS feature, all are amazing features that are packed tightly into this Toshiba. And in a moment, we'll take the lid off of this thing and show you just how cool the mechanism in this thing works. When I first encountered this VCR in the wild, it actually came in its original box. The original packing was in there too, but it was all kind of crushed up. But the striking thing was just the size of this VCR. I was like, what kind of VCR is this? And then I saw the S-VHS logo and thought, okay, this is probably a pretty special VCR. So I'm going to show you what makes it special. The first thing we mentioned is that it has a drawer loading mechanism. And I'll show you all that here in a minute. As far as repair goes, this unit needed 3 belts to be functional. 3 belts. At a retail price of $800 and the hope that it would last for eternity, the belts were really the only thing that didn't make it. So to the right and left of this drawer loading mechanism here are 2 doors that come down. The first door reveals some cool input jacks. We have here on the left the S video in, the composite video in, audio in left and right, a headphone jack, and an audio level for that headphone jack. On the top here, a picture control, soft and sharp. And then here it says Toshiba High Resolution Picture Audio Head Cleaning System. The second door reveals a bunch of controls. We have an open close button again here. See, we had one right here, but there's also one on the inside here. Power button, rewind, play, fast forward, pause, still, stop, record. We have a channel selector here, TV VCR, input select, TV cable TV, counter reset, 0 return, remain counter. Tape speed, audio select, digital tracking, and a manual tracking control. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this little message here is, but it says best position for rental movie. And then it says digital auto tracking system. So I guess they're telling us that you need to have the digital audio tracking system on for rental movies. Although by default, that is what's selected. You have to turn that off in order to switch to something else. This other thing here, let's get a little bit closer so you can see it. Here we have a picture control. There's 3 different settings. There's an edit setting, an HQ setting, or high quality, and a high clear setting. Now I've noticed that in playback and in testing, the high clear really just sharpens up the picture. In fact, it actually makes the picture look sharper than the original that you recorded on it. It says here, high clear. This function improves the vertical and horizontal sharpness to give a cleaner picture. So I'm not exactly sure how clean it is, but it's definitely sharp. And I'll show you that here in just a moment. The other thing I want to recognize or bring out is seeing how it says play ×2. Now, most VCRs, when you hit a play ×2 or play twice as fast as usual, you don't get the audio with it. Well, this one, you do get the audio with it, which I thought was kind of cool. On the front display, which is kind of dim, but not too dim for having been so old and sitting around so long, you have a VU meter here on the left, which is always really cool for hi-fi stereo VCRs. And then over here on the right, you have a real-time counter, hours, minutes, and seconds. And then over here, it's showing the input, so I can actually switch that to the tuner just by hitting the input button on here. And then there's also a simulcast selection. So if you didn't have a hi-fi audio television at that time, or an MTS stereo television, sometimes they had simulcasts over the radio. So what it would do is it allows you to use the audio input on the back to feed in an audio signal, but you're getting your video signal from the tuner, which is kind of cool. As far as tapes go, it only records in SP and EP speeds, or at least the way this one calls it, SLP. And then of course you have your VCR TV button over there on the side to show you that. And of course, when you're playing an S-VHS tape, you get the S-VHS logo there on the right. And again, the simulcast was, well, your source for the simulcast was over a stereo FM radio. So that's what you would put in on the audio inputs to record those simulcast things. It'd be fun to have somebody's VCR tape that they recorded a simulcast event back in those days. And I can actually remember that. There were TV broadcasts where before stereo TV came along, you would just tune your FM radio to a particular station and turn your TV to the particular program, and the two would play together, which is kind of cool. So I think we should get into the inside of this thing. What do you say? Let's take a look. Before we get too far on the inside, I must read this disclaimer. Only use VHS videotape in this tray. Be careful not to get your fingers caught in this tray. Now, so far I've obeyed the rules. I have only put VHS tapes in here, and I have not got my fingers caught in the tray. So, let's take a look at this amazing tray as it does its magic. Here we go. There is a drawer loading mechanism on this VCR. Is that totally cool or what? So, let's see, can we push it in? Nope, can't push it in. We got to hit our open close button over here. So most VCRs won't let you keep the carriage down like that. If you fake it, it'll come right back up. But this one, that's where it rests when there's no tape inside. So of course, you can leave it in that position if you like. Now, there are two belts that I had to replace that are sort of visible. This is one of the belts I replaced. It goes all the way from here, all the way down to this motor. The second one is attached to this motor, and it's in the back here, kind of dark, but the other belt is right there. That was a little bit more interesting to try and get to. A little pair of tweezers was handy with that. And it controls this mechanism down here that kind of does the different functions. Fast forward, play, rewind, puts the loading mechanism into play, etc. So I'm going to pull the camera back so you can kind of get a bird's eye view of this entire mechanism. You are now looking at the entire guts of the Diomage. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It doesn't sound like anything else would make sense to pronounce it. But so the Diomage, over here we have our big power transformer and our power system over here. And let's see, I'm not sure what's underneath here. I have not taken that metal piece off, but there are some circuit boards hanging underneath there. We have our video head and our pinch roller and capstan, take-up reel, supply reel, loading mechanism, you see right there, and circuitry going across here. Now I did remove this board because I thought that it would give me access to the to that belt that you see right there, but unfortunately there is a firewall right here. This black piece of plastic encases it there, so I ended up just putting it right back on. Now underneath this metal plate isn't really anything either. It must be for grounding purposes or noise reduction, interference. I'm not sure what exactly it's for, but this plate comes off and it gave me access to removing this little shield right here, which then gave me access to removing this belt. Now strangely enough, this machine, although it doesn't have any problem removing the mechanism while there is no tape inside, it does have a little bit of a problem loading a tape. So let me show you the tape that we're going to use, and I've used this in other broadcasts as well. And this is a DS64 digital S tape, and I didn't have a Super VHS tape, so I modified this tape by drilling a hole right there, because that's what a Super VHS machine is looking for in order to record on it. So I had to drill that hole. So once I put it in there, I actually have to help the tape on inside, and it's not because of the belt. Apparently it's either a weak motor or just a really, really tight mechanism, but you'll see it goes halfway in and then it comes right back out. Now the cool thing is it actually lifts up the tape a little bit. Did you see that? It kind of lifts it up and makes it easier to get to. I'll show you that again, because it's going to spit it right back out. So there it goes, lifts it up for you. So here's what I have to do to load it. I gotta push it across the threshold there, and then it'll fall into place. I'll show you a little bit of fast forward and rewind action here. Here's fast forward, and you'll see there's a little, like a little turntable gear back here. You'll see this little white arm attached to it there. So when I hit stop, you'll see that little mechanism moving around there. All right, so fast forward again. Sounds almost like a spaceship or something taking off. All right, and we'll do our little rewind action as well. So both the take-up and supply spindle are gear driven, so no worries about having to replace wheels, tires, etc. Now the one thing you may wonder about is the picture quality. How is the picture quality on this? Well, in a moment we're going to take a look at the picture quality, which is actually pretty good. I wouldn't say it's much better than the JVC Super VHS VCR that I reviewed on my channel not too long ago, but it's still really good. So what I did is earlier, before I started making the video, is I connected my Zenith digital TV box to it. So I'm using a roof antenna to supply a signal to this, and through that I put it into the component input, or the composite input in the back, because well, I guess I didn't have a Super VHS or an S-VHS cable handy, but in any case you get an idea of the quality. It's still really good. So let's take a look at picture quality.
Now you can prepare, cook.
All right, so right now we're watching a live digital TV signal being fed through the VCR, and we're going to compare that to the tape we made. So I'm going to hit play on the tape.
I guess the high pressure calibration was too highly calibrated.
So of course this is a PBS program. You can see the little noise there in the red section.
Or to put it in scientific terms, the conflugulator went
Could be the tape formulation that I'm using here. It's not an actual Super VHS tape, but it is a really high grade tape. So again, we're watching a recording, Super VHS recording that I made earlier.
And then we arrived.
18th century to incorporate the island into the Kingdom of Hawaii. He made Lahaina the island's capital.
And I'm not sure why I couldn't pick up my local channel 11 today, but as I was flipping through the channels, it didn't come through. So must be a weekday for channel 24 or 11. Sorry, there's 24.
But which 10%?
All right, now go ahead and pause this. It doesn't do very good at pausing, does it? All right, let's show you how fast playback sounds. Watch this. So here's regular playback, and then double playback. So basically, you can turn any television show into a chipmunk show.
And she's a good enough player to
challenging to walk into
Yeah, that was a bad spot on the tape there. I'm really surprised though at that pause still. I made a recording off of there's still a recording on here that I made on that JVC deck, and it pauses that just perfectly. It doesn't pause its own material very well. And again, this was recorded in standard play, so really not sure what's going on there.
Save an animal's life today.
Ferguson needs light. He trusts Duracell Quantum because it lasts longer.
Get Wild Brows with Minutes Facial Wand Eyebrow Shaper.
at 13 under.
Yeah, that's really a shame that it doesn't pause very well. Let's look at our picture controls here. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference in this. In fact, it's really kind of tough to see the difference. But I'm going to go ahead and switch it from high clear over to HQ, and we'll see if you can see the difference there. So there's the high clear setting right there. That's with it off. There's edit mode, and then there's the high clear again. And then I'm going to turn the sharpness control over here on the left. So there's sharpness all the way to the left, sharp all the way to the right. There's with high clear off, high clear on. Looks like an old Love Boat episode.
Mexico has beaches. So
There's with the switch on to edit mode again.
is a state covered with beaches.
Miners and industrial areas.
Some black and white signal there.
Men's cottages and drinking tea with them. This was completely new. There's a very
On the back of this VCR, we have our regular normal inputs and outputs here. We've got our coaxials up there on the top left. We've got channel 3 and 4. We've got our composite in and out. We've got a variable and a fixed audio output there. And a synchro edit jack there. So I assume you could hook two of these VCRs together and do synchronized editing. And then only one S-video output here. And we had one S-video input on the front. So not a lot in the way of S-video jack support. What is kind of nice about this VCR is when you power it off, it unloads the tape from the mechanism. And then as soon as you power it back up, moves everything back into place again. Here's another view of that loading and unloading mechanism, or I don't know, control mechanism, I guess. If I hit fast forward, this is what happens. And then I'm going to hit stop. And then hit rewind. Here's a shot of the drawer and the unloading mechanism from the side. Well, thank you guys for taking this journey with me back to 1991 and checking out the Diomage Toshiba SVHS Hi-Fi VCR SV-771. This could be a well sought after VCR. I don't know. I had never seen one before in my life. But now you've seen it all, folks. Along with me, we have enjoyed this journey into consumer electronics wonderland, I guess. Well, anyway, if you have any questions about this VCR, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Please subscribe to my channel and share this video with a friend who absolutely loves S-VHS VCRs and seeing my tennis shoe in the reflection of the TV. And I hope that you will like this video, and I hope to see you on the next broadcast video of the Databits channel. Thanks for watching.